This man has elevated the latest episode of Attack on Titan from amazing to freaking incredible, but more on that later. Hello everyone and welcome back for a new breakdown video for the latest episode, Memories from the Future. This is not just a simple episode, it is a turning point in the entire story of Attack on Titan, when the past finally unravels and we get to see the truth. This episode was extremely complicated, so in today's video I will point out every little detail that you need to pay special attention to. There will be no spoilers beyond the events of this episode. So much to talk about, so if you haven't already, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and this little bell thingy to get notified of every new video that comes out. And now to our latest episode that actually has two phases. Phase 1. Zeke guiding Eren. In this first part of the episode, we go on a journey down the past memories of Grisha, going through Eren's entire childhood. This is one of the special abilities of the Founding Titan, and as the episode progresses, we will learn much more of this unique power. Zeke's plan is simple: to show Eren parts of his childhood and to prove to him that Grisha deliberately embedded his ideology in him. We start the journey years back when Eren is still a baby. We can see how Zeke reacts to seeing his father, the one that never gave him the love and attention he needed. We can see how resentful Zeke is from seeing Grisha happy inside the walls after abandoning his other family. We get to see happy Grisha and beautiful Carla with their new baby, and an important detail here is baby Eren seeing Zeke and Eren. This is one of the first clues we get about this so-called memory being much more than simply a memory, or moving images from the past. This was the first sign that something bigger is going on here. Moving on, we get to see Kenny again, when we see the moment Grisha got the information about the royal family hideout. Zeke tries to show Eren how Grisha put everything at risk just for his personal cause. And look how Eren sarcastically tells him he is no longer brainwashed, and Zeke's reaction to Eren's behavior. We move through some more memories of young Eren, and from there, they find themselves in the Wraith hideout. Here, we got the biggest clue about Grisha's intentions. Originally, we believed Grisha took time to find this place because he stole the Titan on the day the walls broke down. But in reality, Eren and Zeke, and also us, finally learned that he found the place years before that. But as Grisha reached the place, he turned away and went back to his family. He left his dream of saving Eldia only for the sake of the people he loved. And that Grisha was not the person Zeke remembers. He sees now that his father learned from his past mistakes. And we can also see how hurt he is from seeing how loved Eren was by his parents. But he still thinks that Eren just follows blindly in his footsteps, and he thinks that he still can change his mind. We go to the basement with Grisha, and here is the second sign of this episode, where Grisha suddenly manages to see Zeke in front of him as a grown person. And look how he sees Zeke while Eren is standing behind him, almost as if he's seeing Zeke because of Eren. And we are getting there. Another thing to notice is that both Eren and Zeke look extremely surprised about what just happened. Zeke is still surprised, but Eren wants to move to the next memory. Here, the anime cut to the opening song, almost 6 minutes into the episode. That was a good thing, because it gave a sense of time, making sure we understand they visited much more memories across years that we just didn't get to see. And we returned when Eren is already 9. This is the year he will lose his family, and the Titans will breach the walls. Zeke sees now that Grisha didn't brainwash Eren, but now he really doesn't understand why Eren betrayed him. He doesn't understand why Grisha passed his Titan to Eren without telling him anything, and Eren just followed in his footsteps. He also asks Eren what did he intend to do with the power of the Founder, but Eren doesn't answer. They both soon find themselves in the little cabin in the woods, where Eren killed the kidnappers that took Mikasa. We can see how terrified Zeke looks. He sees for the first time what his young brother did at the age of 9, as Eren explains to him that he is not like him, and if someone will ever try to take away his freedom, he will not hesitate to take theirs. And here we get probably the most important and my personal favorite Eren quote. I am just me. Our father didn't make me this way. I have been like this since birth. You can see that this is something important because Zeke takes notice of his words, and for the first time he realizes that there might be something else behind Eren's actions. Eren talks down to Zeke, telling him that he can only define himself through the denial of their father's wish, that his entire existence was to prevent Grisha from saving Eldia. But Zeke doesn't let it get to him. He tells Eren that he thanks his father for opening his eyes to the threats of Eldia. As he wants to move on, there is another important moment when Eren watches his young self gives Mikasa her scarf. They both move between memories, and Zeke reminds Eren that he has the power of the founder and he can use it, but he promised his younger brother he would save him years back on the roof of Shiganshina. And now Zeke wants to save Eren before he saves the world. We go back to the basement to see Grisha writing his final words on the picture of his first family. The picture that the scouts will discover years later after the Battle of Shiganshina. We go to the Jaeger house kitchen to the exact same scene we had on season 1, and I'm not even joking. I synced both scenes side by side and they are exactly the same, only now with MAPPA animation. You can see the full comparison on my Twitter if you want. And here, this scene took another new meaning, as we see the two brothers now standing in that kitchen. Grisha promises young Eren to show him the basement, while he literally looking at older Eren. That was such a cool new perspective in the manga, and they did an amazing job showing that in the anime as well. We jump a bit later to when the walls came down, as Grisha finally returns to the cave of the Race family to face the king of the walls. We meet Frida again, and we can see how she is affected by the vow to renounce war and refuses to stop the Titans. If you want to know more about the vow and King Fritz, go check out this video I made about him. I promise it will give you a different perspective about the vow and the king himself. No matter what Grisha tells her, Frida just keeps on saying that they must atone for their past sins. Zeke thinks that he could have gotten along with her because she basically holds the same opinions as he did. But the funny thing is, those are not her opinions, so if anything, Zeke is identifying with Karl Fritz's ideology. And here is where our episode goes into its second phase. Phase 2. What the hell is going on? Zeke turns to Eren and sees him fixated on Grisha, looking extremely angry. Grisha tries again to convince Frida, but she won't change her mind. And at this moment, we see how Grisha is terrified and looking over his shoulder to Eren, who still has his angry look. And there is where things started getting really interesting. First of all, take notice that Grisha refers to this moment as a memory, saying they have all been led to this memory in order to defy the vow of the king. That tells us that he saw it before in order for it to become a memory, and we will soon see where and how, as Grisha finally reveals the Attack Titan true power. Unlike the other Titans who can see past memories, the Attack Titan has the unique ability to see into the future memories of his future holders. To remind you, that happened to Kruger when he saw future memories of the words Grisha said years later. If you want to save Mikasa, Armin, and everyone else. Frida looks confused, and Grisha explains that she is not aware of that power because even though she is part of the royal family, she doesn't have the full power of knowledge of the founder, and that is again because of the vow. And now he will eat the founder because this is the future that was set in motion to show us again that Grisha did see some kind of future. The entire Race family tells Frida to kill him quickly, but suddenly Grisha drops the knife. He cannot kill all those kids. He is a doctor. He saves lives, not take them. Zeke doesn't understand. Grisha did steal the founder on that day, so what's going on? And suddenly, Eren kneels next to his father, telling him to get up. And notice that when he touches him, Grisha actually moves, and the anime made sure to make this clear. This is the third clue we have in this episode that those are not just memories, those are actual events happening right now. Thanks to the power of the Founding Titan to transcend time and space, the Jaegers are able to revisit those same moments as they took place in real time. And that is important to understand for the next part, as Eren reminds his father what he was fighting for, telling him to not forget his sister, Kruger, Dina and Eldia, as terrified and confused Grisha grabs the knife and kills the family, like he always did. So, what's going on? This entire episode we saw how Eren caused Grisha and even baby Eren to notice them. Because Eren is the holder of the Attack Titan, Grisha can see Eren's future memories as part of the power of this Titan. But because Eren has another Titan with the vision to the past, he was the first holder of the Attack Titan that also had the power to look back into the previous holders, for example, his own dad. No other Attack Titan holder had that ability before, because none of them had another Titan as well to allow that to happen. When we see Eren influencing Grisha, you can look at it as him pushing memories into Grisha's mind, almost like making Grisha see things from Eren's point of view. But as we see later, Eren decided what to show him, and clearly he didn't show him everything. This also breaks Zeke's entire perspective as he finally understands that Grisha didn't influence his kid, it was the other way around. This what happens all those years ago, and Eren used Zeke right now in order to reach that specific moment and to make all that happen. And by the way, how did Eren even know all of that? This will be revealed in the near future. But I will remind you of the previous episode when he told Zeke that he saw some memories of his father, and he meant those memories. Also, in the background we see Eren kissing a hand. If you are a big fan, you probably already recognize this moment. And just so we are all on the same page, in the first episode of Attack on Titan we see Grisha on his way back home. That was right after the events we just saw in this episode, we just didn't get to see them back then. This is the Attack on Titan famous time loop, one that I talked about a lot in my channel. It is basically the chicken and the egg scenario, two events that affect each other with no way of knowing which happened first. Why? Because Eren used the power in order for his dad to give that power to his son. That's what Eren showed Grisha he should do. So basically, Eren used the power in order for him to get that power in the first place, and that is a time loop or a paradox of time. So it is important to understand that this is always what happened that day. The Founding Titan made it possible to reach that point, but that was always the outcome. The only thing that changed is our perspective, now that we finally see what really happened. Next, we get the best performance of a voice actor I have ever seen in my life. The voice acting of Grisha literally made me cry, and his voice actor deserves the respect. So give a huge like to Hiroshi Tsushida, which must get some award for this amazing performance. We see how confused Grisha is, screaming to the sky to Eren, asking if this is what he wanted, if this was the only way. He killed everyone like he asked, everyone except for the father. Why not the father? So things will remain the same and Rod Race will reach Historia, and everything will remain the same. Just to prove to us again how manipulated was poor Grisha all this time. Has he been just following the memories being forced on him by his own child? Grisha says that from now on Eren will get his wish. And if you want to find out what Eren's wish was and you are not afraid of spoilers, go check out my hour-long breakdown of the final chapter of Attack on Titan. I promise you, this video will surprise you on so many different levels. In that moment, and just like we've seen before, Grisha is again able to see Zeke, and in a heartbreaking moment, Grisha hugs his son and starts crying, asking for forgiveness for being a terrible father, and again, I also cried here. This was the fourth clue of this episode to show us these are not actual memories, but the actual events taking place right now. Zeke starts crying when he sees Eren's face in the dark, We get a familiar scene from season 3, only from a different angle this time, and the two brothers find themselves back in the paths. Zeke looks terrified and Eren looking down at him with a dark look in his eyes. And that is where this mind-blowing episode ends, leaving us lots of more twists and amazing developments for the next episode. And believe me, there are so much more things to blow your mind. And of course, I will be right here to explain everything as we move on forward on one of the best seasons of Attack on Titan. Thank you so much for joining me today, my Titan-loving friends, and I will see you all real soon. And until then, don't forget to dedicate your hearts to humanity, inside and outside the walls.